Marvel Studios' next big blockbuster is Marvel's Shang-Chi. Unfortunately, the term blockbuster and this film are probably not going to go hand in hand when it comes to box office, because long-range forecast is looking, well, it's looking as good as Aldrich Killian as the Mandarin. It's about to explode in spectacular flames. So Marvel's Shang-Chi will be opening to theaters only, and it has a theatrical 45-day window, which is important in this scenario, because they cannot put it anywhere else on iTunes, on Disney Plus, or anything for the first 45 days. Meaning if you want to see the film, you have to go to a theater. Now this of course is in stark contrast to the most recent Marvel Studios release, which is Black Widow, which had a hybrid release, and the competition's most recent release, which was the Suicide Squad, which of course ended up doing not so good in theaters, all things considered, and HBO Max, well, they never really reveal official big numbers or anything, so those just kind of flow out there for what they are from independent studies, but we can all agree it didn't live up to what it would have, either of them, had this not been the pandemic era. So all eyes are now on Shang-Chi, and well, it hurts me to talk about it because I want this to be a franchise because I'm so hyped for this, but it looks like this thing is, well, looks like long-range forecast believe it's going to tank. Now, you have to kind of take a giant step back and look at the entire scenario. The original forecasts for this film, as it is anyway, on a United States take, before all the delays happened, and it was originally slated to come out, what, a year and a half ago at this point almost? Something like that. They were saying, you know, pre-pandemic, this was looking at a 70 to 80 million opening, so it was going to be pretty big. Saying that the long-range forecast now is 40 to 50 million is bad, but again, I don't know how many times I have to preface this, and people just don't understand and ignore it. The pandemic has changed the landscape. We cannot compare today to 2 years ago. You can't. If that's your barometer, if that's your goal, if that's your bar, everything is technically a failure. So we can only compare it now to the most recent releases. 40 to 50 million will put it ahead of the Suicide Squad, below Black Widow. Both of those are considered failures. Because again, failure because it doesn't do what the previous ones did. So, you know, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this one. Yeah, it's looking low, but again, what hasn't been looking low and what hasn't been low? The only reason that Fast 9 did what it did was because years ago they secured that Chinese release date that they had to get. This film, other films, not so lucky. They didn't lock in years ago, so they weren't guaranteed. So the entire box office take, really not surprising that it's looking so bad. Abysmal is a good way to put it. But I guess we're going to wait and see. As we get closer to it, that final week will be interesting and going into early September because I'm hyped. I know many of you are, but are people going to risk their lives to see this? I don't know.